So I don't remember a time when I didn't know that I was adopted. And I remember that my mom, she would read a lot of books to me that were about children that were adopted. And so I always knew that my parents looked different from me. I think that even though I was aware of it, I think I slowly just sort of became oblivious to the fact that I looked Asian to people. And I think sometimes I would get a surprising response from people based on how I looked, and that would surprise me because I had forgotten that I was actually Asian in appearance. My adoption story, just in a nutshell, I was born in Seoul, Korea, and then I think my birth mother put me in a basket, and then she put a note in the basket on the doorstep of a police station and said, "Please take care of my baby." And so I was adopted. Well, so someone found me presumably on the doorstep of the police station and then took me to an orphanage, and then I was adopted when I was about 4.5 months old. And I think, like, my parents just, they've never ever given the impression that that they love me any less because I'm not their biological daughter. They are just so sacrificial, and I think I really saw that in my high school years, where, like, because my parents really didn't make a lot of money and they were very frugal. So I saw the financial strain that all of my activities was placing on them, and I just saw how they really wanted to give me those opportunities if they could. And so I think I've definitely seen the love, indiscriminate, unconditional love from them. And Robert and I have been talking, and we would really love to be able to adopt in the future ourselves, even though we have Junia. And I think my parents just gave me a really good example of what it looks like to love people that are outside your family, that are outside your culture and ethnicity. So, my mom is just completely loving, sacrificial, probably to the point where she never disciplined me. Like, she put me in timeout once, and then I ripped a book up, and then she never did it again. I think they spanked me one time, and you can probably tell streaks of, that probably shows in, like, who I am now, because I'm so stubborn. But I mean, she just kind of almost loved me, I wouldn't say to a fault, but she just really, both of them really tried to do everything they possibly could to make me comfortable and provided for. So yeah, so their picture of love, I think, of just sacrifice, kind of extending love to people that aren't in your family bloodline, and all of that. Yeah. How did I meet Robert? Where to begin? So I came to Ann Arbor in 2003, and Robert came to Ann Arbor in 1998. And we both started attending Knox. He started attending Knox pretty soon after he came here for med school, and I started attending Knox in 2004. So we were attending the church parallel for a number of years, and then in 2009, that's the year that we met. So our relationship was good, except for probably there was that whole added layer of Robert's parents. And so, like, very early on in the relationship, we knew that Robert's parents were very disapproving of us getting married. And so that caused a lot of stress, and that caused a lot of conflict. And we obviously were able to endure that and kind of move through it together, but that did take an emotional toll. And I think it was also compounded by the fact that I was trying to understand where his parents were coming from. I just didn't understand culturally their starting point and their whole frame of reference and worldview for why they would not approve of me as an adopted daughter-in-law. So it took me a long time to kind of get up to speed with what Robert's parents think. But now I can happily say I can give very good advice on interacting with Asian parents, because I know a lot more than I used to know in terms of that. So Robert and I did want to have a baby, and I had somehow convinced myself that I was incapable of having children. I think partially because I didn't want to confront potential failure of not being able to have a child. And also because we had talked about it, and there's a really strong desire for us to adopt. There still is a strong desire to adopt. So when I found out that I was pregnant, it was like simultaneous joy, and also I was really not happy about it. Like I don't even remember why now, but I remember telling myself when I was pregnant with Junia that I would have to apologize to her in person sometime, because I just didn't want to be pregnant. I did not want to have a baby. I think that I was thinking about what that would mean for a shift in our family and for me in my career. And I was anticipating that it would cost a lot, not financially, although she is very expensive, but just that it would cost a lot to have a child. So I also didn't like physically being pregnant. Like I just didn't like I would be like waddling around everywhere. And on a college campus, you're very keenly aware of the fact that you're like the only pregnant person sitting in Starbucks. And so all that to say though, when I had Junia, I think it took me kind of a while to bond with her. But the delivery process was very smooth. And Robert was a very good kind of coach throughout the whole thing. So I'm very proud that I didn't have any epidural or anything like that. I just felt the full effects of childbirth. But it was totally doable. It's possible. And really, it's because Robert was like, scream at me. He's like, breathe, breathe. And so that was the only way, pretty much, that I kind of made it through. But like I was really happy to have my parents there, so I could really see her and hold her when she was very young. But now I can say that I could not imagine life without Junia. Like she is like the absolute, just the absolute love of my life in human form. And so, yeah, I just cannot imagine life without her. I just love her a lot.
Well, one thing I was going to say that I forgot to say was that with my parents, actually, Junia was the difference.
She was the golden ticket.
Yeah. Which was very interesting because I think we both profoundly felt when we first saw her ultrasound. I think we noticed two things. She had a really stiff neck.
Literally.
Like
even the technician was like, oh, she has a stiff neck.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Ooh.
And then she was female. And I think we talked about this. I think both of us, when we first saw that, we were like, we felt something very strongly that we wanted a boy.
Mm-hmm. Or that we needed a boy to actually win Robert's parents over. That's what it was.
Well, I think I actually wanted a boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought you did too. You told me.
I probably did. I wanted to win his parents over though.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Was that? Well, I think yeah.
I think that was subconscious. It's hard for me to just to separate.
Yeah.
I remember Dolores, before she got closer to her death, her mind was still very much intact, and she said, "You know what, Sara? Junia had to be a girl." Because she had to break this cycle, and she had to win your parents-in-law over being a girl, because if she had been a boy, then it would have just been contributing to this cycle of the tradition of favoring males. And so the fact that she was a girl helps to break this cycle, that she doesn't have to be a boy, but she can just be who she is, and they can accept her for who she is. And that ended up being true. And I remember having an amazing conversation with Robert's dad right after Christmas, and Robert had gone up to bed, so it was just me and Robert's parents talking, and Robert's dad actually pulled out the family books that had all of their lineage in it, like 900 years of history and every single person in their family. And those were the books that in the beginning they had pulled out and shown to Robert, and they said, you can't marry Sara because her name can't go in this book. And it was in that conversation that he said, Robert's dad said to me, the next time I go back to Korea, I will update these books and I will put your name in there and I will put Junia's name in there. And so it was just really amazing to see that they really had accepted Junia as their granddaughter. And the fact that she was a girl was okay. And really Junia has been the only reason that we've been reconciled with his parents. So she's been a huge gift. Just who she is has been a huge gift. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one thing I will add, you could just edit this or whatnot, is that my mom, I remember when I had Junia, she said, Sara, how does it feel for you that Junia is the first blood relative that you know in your life? And I was like, I never thought about that before. So Junia she's the first person that I know that I'm related to in the world. And I think that's something that creates a very strong bond between us as well, is that I know she's my daughter, and I don't know my biological mother, father, siblings. And so, of course, there's a lot of brothers and sisters through, common faith in Jesus, but that blood relationship is only with Junia for me as an adopted person. So that makes our relationship very special. That's a good question. So how's my perspective on love changed ever since I've had Junia? I definitely thought before Junia that I had a hard time understanding how you could have unconditional love for someone. And so I think after I had Junia, I realized God's love for us as his people, as his sons and daughters. My love for Junia is absolutely unconditional. There is nothing in the world that she could do that would make me ever disown her, ever hate her. She can always come back, no matter what she does. And I remember, I don't know how old she was at the time, but I just remember having this immense love for her. And I was so perplexed with myself, like, how can I feel this, that I love her so much? And it was just simply because she's my daughter, and we're related, and I see some of myself in her, and she really wasn't doing much at that time except pooping and peeing and crying and eating. So just the sense that love can be so strong, so unconditional, so unbreakable, and that you don't have to do anything to deserve it, is also a big thing that I'm realizing. Junia didn't do anything except cry and all that, so that's changed my view of love a lot. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is seeing how Junia is going to grow up and how she's going to be formed into an adult. And I think that I can't wait to have moments that I share with her, that we share together, where I can be part of that formation. I'm just going to love bringing her along to things and teaching her as we go together, or debriefing her failure, encouraging her in her success. I remember when she was a baby, or when I was pregnant, I would always ask Robert, do you think she's gonna be cute? Do you think she's gonna be cute? Is she really a girl? Do you think she's gonna be cute? I think I probably asked him that like
20 times a day.
20 times a day, because I just wanted to know.
Stay up asking you that.
I know. I just wanted to know. I could not wait to see what she looked like. I just absolutely could not wait to see what she looked like. And so I think in the same way, I cannot wait to see who she grows up to be. I can't wait to see just what she looks like, and her personality and her character, and the ways that she will interact with people around her, and what she'll be interested in. So to me, it feels like this unfolding puzzle just before my very eyes. Like, she's just becoming this young girl, and I'm so fortunate to be able to have a part in that.